StarCraft, one of the most quintessential PC franchises of all time. At the time of its release, Blizzard Games received universal praise from fans of the RTS genre, which made StarCraft one of the great pillars of Blizzard, even going as far as being called the greatest real-time strategy game ever made by IGN in 2003 and 2005. Despite the last official StarCraft anything coming out way back in 2018, its competitive scene is still alive and well as of the recording of this video, especially in South Korea. I never had a gaming PC as a kid, so I had to miss out on StarCraft growing up. As a console gamer, I would see my Master Race PC friends playing StarCraft and games like it thinking, man, that is boring to watch and looks way too complicated for me to ever understand. As I grew older, I kept seeing StarCraft get brought up, and watching its success made it grow more appealing. But something I have also learned is that nostalgia can act as a pair of blinders, and most games, no matter how great they were at the time, just don't live up to today's standards. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much of a demand for new games, would there? So when I looked at the gameplay of the original StarCraft, and even StarCraft Remastered, I wasn't feeling the visuals, and I assumed that I had missed the train on this franchise. But then, StarCraft Mass Recall was brought to my attention, a fan-made remake of StarCraft 1 in the StarCraft 2 engine. My name's PoopBro420, and after many hours of glorious success and crushing failure, I'm here to do my best to convince you that StarCraft Mass Recall is worth your time, especially if you missed out on the original. For those who don't know, StarCraft is a tale of three races in the distant future, battling for survival and dominance over the others. These are the Terran, Zerg, and Protoss. Terran are what everyone refers to humans as for some reason, while Zerg are a gross, slimy, hive mind, bug-like alien creature. The Protoss are a hyper-intelligent magical alien who have great pride and sound super cool when they talk.
I am Tassadar.
Each race offers a dynamically different playstyle with unique strengths and weaknesses, like Terran having the ability to scan parts of the map, for example, or Protoss being able to teleport large parts of their forces across the map, just to name a few. Mass Recall covers StarCraft 1 in its entirety, which includes chapters 1 through 3, as well as the Brood Wars, which was an expansion. Yep, expansion. That's what we used to call DLC, which was released later and had chapters 4 to 6. Each chapter is an 8 to 10 mission run with one of the three races. The chapters are presented chronologically, which is awesome because the narrative can take a lot of crazy turns this way. You'll be 8 missions into your Terran campaign feeling so proud to be a member of the human race, but wait not even 5 missions later into the Zerg campaign and you'll be thinking, literally all life in the universe should serve the Overmind and the Queen of Blades.
Insufferable Protoss coward. Tassadar cannot evade my wrath forever. Don't think that I need you. Should you become a nuisance, I'll kill you myself.
I sense something strange about this Templar. Perhaps you should reconsider your attack.
For the last time, Zaz, you question my motives and authority at your own peril.
You dare threaten a Cerebrate? You'll be the doom of us all.
Oh, I love her so much. She's ruthless, she's intelligent, and she's pretty funny.
If we can do enough superficial damage to the creature, it might pacify the Zerg nearest to it, allowing us some time to retrieve the Callus.
A bold plan, young Artanis. Your courage rivals that of mighty Tassadar himself.
You give me too much credit, noble Zeratul. I am not worthy enough to even speak his name.
Touching. Look, boys, either of these plans will work.
I was also a big fan of this character named Minx. He's one of the leaders you serve during the early parts of the campaign. I found his soft but brutal way of leading very believable.
Right.
Arcturus, have you lost your mind?
Listen, I know Duke's a cold-hearted bastard, but an entire colony shouldn't have to suffer for that. Besides, a Confederate general could prove to be a powerful ally. This is an opportunity we cannot miss.
I don't like this at all.
I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to do it.
I absolutely love him, but it's hard to explain why without getting into spoilers.
Seeds of a new empire have been sown, and if we hope to reach...
To hell with you!
You're making a terrible mistake. Don't even think to cross me. You don't seem to realize my situation here. I will not be stopped. Not by you, or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector, or see it burnt to ashes around me.
My objective for this video is to make you want to experience the story for yourself. I know that the biggest flaw a critic like myself can have is saying that something is good without explaining why, but I genuinely think explaining what he does later in the story to make him so interesting would be robbing you of a great experience I just had myself. When it comes to the story, the less you know going in, the better. Just like Fortnite, StarCraft is less about the action and more about the building. Whoever can build up their resources the fastest and turn those Walter White blueies and straight up gas my guy greenies, as some members of the StarCraft community seem to refer to them as, into the largest and most effective army wins. While, of course, monitoring your defenses and all those other pesky aspects that make strategy games what they are. I want to be clear that I'm a total novice when it comes to these games, but that did not stop me from having a fantastic time with the story. And the 3D visuals of StarCraft 2 are much more appealing for newcomers, in my opinion, than the original 2D design. The modders have done everything in their power to keep the experience as faithful to the original as possible, lifting the exact audio files and unit quotes from StarCraft 1, while also enhancing the experience, like when they take a moment that was just a text prompt in the original game and replace it with its own cutscene. They've also added these awesome intro and outro cutscenes, and some of them are just incredible. I really like that I was able to pull up walkthroughs for literal 1998 StarCraft 1 whenever I got stuck, and every detail of each map was exactly like it was in the original. Even though they've adjusted the difficulty taking StarCraft 2's user interface into account, all of the same strategies they talked about back then are still your ideal approaches. The work that this team has done is commendable. And it goes to show you just how good the story design and performances were in StarCraft 1, especially considering that during this time, video game narratives were seen as a complete joke by most of the industry. In my opinion, this story was way ahead of its time. I love looking up the visuals from the original game and seeing how it looked before, especially these briefing scenes. And my god, these 1998 FMVs age like wine. This experience is just not the same without them, so don't forget to download the FMV add-on when downloading the mod. The story itself acts as a tutorial for the game. Each time you start a chapter as a race you haven't played as before, You're taught how to play the game as you go along, unlocking more advanced units towards the end of each chapter. These new units are usually presented for narrative reasons, which I find totally awesome. Like when you unlock the Dark Archon class in the Protoss chapter, it's because Tassadar, who is totally awesome, leaves his Protoss brethren to join forces with the long-forsaken Dark Templar tribe in a desperate attempt to survive against the Zerg that are taking over the universe, and has brought them back to his home to join forces. I'm glad they give you time to learn this stuff, because failure in this game can happen in a second, at any second. No, not you! I love this tank. I love this tank. I just love him. I just love what he's done. Oh, I just love this tank. He's so cool. I just love this. Love this. It can get very stressful having to juggle everything that's going on at once. The game is honestly testing your micro and macro management skills.
Show me your micro. Sir? You got micro? Ah! That's micro. Now show me your micro. Ah!
The more you play the game and start to get a feel for keyboard shortcuts instead of clicking on everything with your mouse, the more you could say your micro is going up, while the better you get at choosing what to spend money on is your macro getting better. The more my micro went up, the more I could begin appreciating the real stars of StarCraft, the community.
Jeremy, what are you doing?
Just practicing my micro, pal. Just practicing my micro.
When StarCraft originally came out, the community loved doing LAN parties against each other, partially because StarCraft was this nerdy-ass thing that brought them together. When you played games against each other back in the day online, you couldn't see a replay of what your opponent did to win, so if you wanted to know, you had to message them and ask what they did, which I believe partially helped forge a strong community for strategy fans that might not typically be the social type. Are you a fan of esports? That's something we also owe the StarCraft community for, being the first video game played by professional gamer athletes in front of a live studio audience for money, and paving the way for what we now refer to as esports. That's because StarCraft basically has an infinite skill ceiling. Just like chess or Fortnite, there's no limit to how much you can get better at this game. When you get stuck, you practice different approaches, maybe do a research on a couple strats, which is looking up a walkthrough, by the way. Or if you're lucky like me, ask a member of the StarCraft community directly. I find that anyone who's a friend of yours and happens to be a fan of StarCraft will be all too delighted to share some wisdom your way, and revel in the excitement of watching someone enjoy the thing that they also enjoy. Nowadays, StarCraft's fandom has slowly begun to decline. Activision Blizzard has made all of the StarCraft games free for now, and announced back in 2020 that they will be no longer supporting StarCraft 2's multiplayer. They're going to keep the servers up, but it sounds like they don't have any plans for any new StarCraft games anytime soon. But don't get sad. There is hope in the form of Frost Giant Studios, a new developer consisting of many of the original programmers for Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. As of the recording of this video, their current project is a game called Stormgate, which claims to be a return to real-time strategy and is expected to launch during mid-2023. I've already signed up for the newsletter, and I'll put a link in the description where you can sign up as well if you're interested. StarCraft's heyday has passed, and it's very likely it'll never reach the levels of popularity it once had. Activision Blizzard has made it clear that they are not interested in doing more StarCraft for now, but that's why the community has worked so hard, so that people like me can still experience how great StarCraft 1 was over 20 years later. And as StarCraft's newest member of the community, I implore you to download StarCraft 2 for free from Blizzard.com. You will need to make a Blizzard account, but that's free too. After you do that, check the link in the description for instructions to install Mass Recall and master the dark arts of save scumming like I did. By experiencing StarCraft this way, you'll find going into StarCraft 2 way more accessible. I haven't finished all of StarCraft yet. I still have a little over 1 chapter left, but I'll be save scumming my way to the top over at twitch.tv/poopbro420. For the love of God, please come hang out. If you're still listening to this, I love you. I also want to give a huge shout out to my friend Kojo, who put me onto Mass Recall. I genuinely love you. You're awesome. Thank you for hanging out on my streams and giving me top tier commander advice. It was really nice when I got stuck during really hard parts of the stream and I could just be like, hey dad, what do I do? So genuinely thank you. And yeah, be sure to turn on subtitles, go over to view description and hit show more. It really helps me out, and thanks for watching.